Hello YouTube, Vlogger Eric's Rants here, and this week I'm responding to Pauline Hanson and her slamming Islam and Islamic immigration. Now before we begin, let's give a bit of context to the video I'm about to play. So early last month, a 15-year-old boy, radicalised by ISIS, decided to go and kill a policeman. He was later shot dead by police, and the exchange in the clip I'm about to show you happened shortly afterwards.
Police are still trying to find out where 15-year-old Fahad Khalil Mohammed Jabbar got the gun he used to shoot dead New South Wales police employee Curtis Cheng. There are reports he was carrying material linked to an Islamic bookstore in his backpack where he had been hiding the handgun.
The Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull has urged the public not to blame the entire Muslim community for the shooting, and the government is urging Muslim families to reach out and seek help for children they believe are at risk of being radicalised.
Okay, so that was a pretty good summary of the situation at that point. Now, from the one bit of the Quran I was able to use to trace which version she is using, I've decided that I'll be using the Muhammad Sawa version of the Quran, as it appears that Pauline Hanson is using that version. So let's begin.
Hot topic this morning. To discuss it, we're joined by commentator Darren Hinch and One Nation leader Pauline Hanson. Darren, are parents always going to know if their children are being radicalised?
Now I'm going to preempt the first guy and say not always. Teens are very good at hiding things from their parents. Let's just say I'm speaking from experience as the hiding teen.
No, they're not, but radicalisation is a new buzzword at the moment. I remember when another religious group used to radicalise their young men. They put them in white shirts and black trousers, and they come and knock on your door, and they were called Mormons, and they didn't kill people. So it's not the radicalising of kids. Look, there's another point here too. I think that Bill Shorten was a little rash and a little speedy in his condolences for the family of the shooter, because you've got the brother reportedly told police he thought a member of his family might be involved, and you have the sister who's fled to the Middle East. So I think that may have been a bit premature.
Okay, that is interesting. So there apparently was more than one person radicalised in this family. That isn't good.
Yes, you go back to your question, Koshi. Yes, the families are the front line. They should be watching for it, but whether they will tell police or not is another matter.
Yeah.
That is a problem. There does seem to be a bit of distrust, I'd say, between police and the Muslim community. I hope that mistrust can be remedied.
Gee, that makes me angry. I mean, how about the family of Curtis Cheng, a good,
Yes.
decent, hard-working Australian who walks out of his office on a Friday afternoon? Makes me so mad.
Yeah.
Pauline, do you think enough help is being offered to Muslim families to identify and help deal with kids who could be being radicalised?
Now, just a quick thing. Pauline Hanson is a conservative. She's anti-immigration. I'd say possibly a legit Islamophobe. I hate her personally. Let's see what hatred she spews in this.
Sam, I'm so upset by all this again. Here we have another attack in Australia. People are in fear on our streets, and terrorism that has touched our shores. Look, I believe that both sides of Parliament, whether it be the Liberal, Labor, Greens, National Party, are not doing enough to address this whole issue.
So what do the whips of Parliament do, Pauline? What do they do? I mean, short of kicking out every Muslim and sending them basically to Islamic State, I mean, we're bombing them. We're increasing our security. We're reaching out to the Muslim community. And we're implementing de-radicalisation programs to try and de-radicalise people. What more is there to do other than, I don't know, put boots on the ground? Or send all Muslims back and send them straight in the hands of ISIS? Those are the only things left I can think of.
You have to know and understand what the Quran says, and that's what people are not going back to.
And as we will see very shortly, you beyond quote mine the Quran in order to promote your hate-filled, unintentionally ISIS-supporting narrative.
What the teachings of the Quran, and in sections of the Quran I will tell you this: 9.5 Surah, fight and slay the pagans. 4.34, control the wives, beat them. 4.89, kill them. 4.84 Surah, fight. This is all about to cause harm, to destroy those who do not believe in you.
I've actually taken the time to find the verses of the Quran that Pauline Hanson referenced. It's time to fact-check Pauline. Is what she is saying exactly what the Quran says? Chapter 9, verse 5. When the sacred months are over, slay the pagans wherever you find them. Capture, besiege, and ambush them. If they repent, perform prayers, and pay the religious tax, set them free. God is all forgiving and all merciful. So, slay the pagans is in the verse, but there is a bit more to it than what she said. There is a way to get out of being killed, and that she didn't mention. So that's one quote mine. On to the next verse. Chapter 4, verse 34. Men are the protectors of women because of the greater preference that God has given to some of them and because they financially support them. Among virtuous women are those who are steadfast in prayer and dependable in keeping the secrets that God has protected. Admonish women who disobey God's laws. Do not sleep with them and beat them. If they obey the laws of God, do not try to find fault in them. God is high and supreme. Now this gives off a somewhat different impression of this verse than Pauline had said, trying to fit the Quran to a hateful narrative. This particular verse only tells you to beat women if they get out of line. Now, in other versions of the Quran, it does say only beat them lightly. Is it still okay in today's society? Hell to the no. But it isn't exclusively beat up your wives, as Pauline said. So, 2 quote mines. Next verse. They wish you to become unbelievers as they themselves are. Do not establish friendship with them until they have abandoned their homes for the cause of God. If they betray you, seize them and slay them wherever you find them. Do not establish friendship with them or seek their help. Okay, now here Pauline didn't mention whom the Quran instructs to kill. And by reading the other interpretations of the Quran, it appears this is only referring to atheists. Pauline, with this one, you could have said the whole verse and still gotten your message across. It's actually worse when you read the whole verse than the quote mine you did. Oh, you really don't read the Quran, do you, Pauline? So let's go on to the final verse. Thus, Muhammad, fight for the cause of God. You are only responsible for yourself. Rouse the believers, and perhaps God will stop the evil designs of the unbelievers. God's punishment and retribution is the most severe. Now, this one is referring to Allah specifically, although I will say that Allah and Yahweh are the same goddamn Abrahamic God. Pauline, again, read the goddamn full verse. It's as bad. It would have fit your narrative just as well. But as you can see, she really doesn't read the Quran. That is a fact check of the Pauline Hanson. And I conclude that she's a hate-filled witch. I think witch is a pretty good thing for her specifically, honestly.
Go to the source of it. We need a debate in this country. As Julie Bishop said yesterday, it was a politically motivated murder.
I think Pauline failed at saying politically just then, but that may have been just me.
This is not just all about it's politics. We have to understand what Islam stands for. It is not compatible with our country.
All extremists, especially those who believe in their holy books, literally, are incompatible with Australia. The vast majority of the Muslims in the West, however, have found ways to reconcile their faith with modern Western civilization. The Christians have done the same thing. You're hating on the Muslims because of one person doing something horrible. One person does not represent the whole religion. It would be like if I say that you represented everybody in the conservative movement. You're playing straight into ISIL's hands. The hatred of Muslims you're perpetrating is exactly what ISIL wants, you bigoted fool.
We have to stop immigrating more people into Australia who have Islam background.
Yeah. Oi, Pauline, do you know that most of the people that ISIS are killing are Muslims? 99.999% plus of Muslims fleeing the war zone in Syria and Iraq are fleeing ISIL.
Let the Muslim countries
Pauline,
take them.
I understand what you're saying, and absolutely understand, but, you know, the Bible has some pretty archaic things in there.
Oh, here we go. I think Pauline Hanson is about to apologise for the fucking Bible, which, by the way, is every bit as bad as the Quran, at least in my opinion.
David, you can't use that argument. I'm sorry. We don't have that. We do not have that terrorism, that murder happening on our streets. The police have admitted there are 400 on our streets now that are under surveillance. They're still wanting to go over there to slay and kill for ISIS. Can't you understand this? This is the only religion we've had so much problems here in Australia. It's not about religion.
Actually, it is, at least with you. You're an Islamophobe, a legitimate Islamophobe. Your tarring of all Muslims with the same brush, quote mining of the Quran, your Islamophobia is disgusting and it plays straight into ISIL's hands.
This is a political ideology that is not compatible with our culture, our way of life. Yes, the parents have to take control of this, but we need to know what's being taught in the Islamic schools and the mosques. And we still have more mosques going up in this country. I'm telling you now, and the people know it. Get out of your glass houses.
How about you get out of your glass house of bigotry and Islamophobia, Pauline, and come to realise that the vast majority of Muslims condemn ISIL?
Go and see what's happening. Talk to the people.
Actually, the majority of Muslims have reconciled the Quran with modern Western civilization, Pauline.
Don't think
Why
all
are there so many
Darren,
Australians that rise up against
not
them,
all mosques
against this religion?
are preaching hate. There are, by the sounds of things, and we don't know enough about this yet, there are particular imams out there preaching hate, and maybe they need to be focused on. But
Can I put a point here?
Do
Yes, you're right.
That's why you need to.
Where hate is being preached, there's freedom of speech, yes. If they are guilty of inciting riots, if they're shouting fire in a theatre sort of thing, then they should be charged, they should be prosecuted. And if they're not citizens of Australia, they should be deported.
Exactly! Charge, prosecute the hate preachers, and if they're not Australian, deport them. But don't tar a whole religion because of a few hate preachers.
I'll make one more quick point here. I think that Premier Baird and Commissioner Scipione, I think, and their praise for the special constables, that bravery was fantastic, the way they handled it. They called it terrorism. They didn't pussyfoot around like some media have done and don't say it's terrorism. I think that was right. I think his name should have come out hours earlier, and I tweeted that over the weekend. But I think in general, the Commissioner and the Premier did stuff there exactly the way it should be done and brought it out.
Yep, totally agree.
Well, yes, the media do tend to pussyfoot around when it comes to Muslims. I personally think it's stupid. As an anti-theist, I condemn the media for not calling it what it was, an act of terror. However, this act of terror and the Terror Act in Paris does not give you the right to attack all Muslims, playing straight into ISIL's heads in the process for what these barbaric monsters in Iraq and Syria have done. So that is my video for today. As you can guess, Pauline Hanson's bigotry angers me greatly. I hate this woman, as I've said multiple times in this video. I'll leave links in the description to the original video and to all the Quran verses that I reference. Please rate, comment, share and subscribe, and have a great day everyone.